Okay, so we're going to look at doing some programming all on our own. What we'll find now on Grok is this new module called the Playground Python. This is a workspace for your own Python program, so there's nothing saved here. We're just going to hit continue and jump into that. So the Playground Python, and I've written some code here already, has a bunch of different sections, A, B, C, D, and all of them will save your code. So I write something here in A3, background 3. I go to another one and come back. That code is still saved here. So what we'll do is we'll use one of these playgrounds per activity that we're going to look at today. So what we need to start with is how to create a variable. There are two main types of variables. They are words and numbers. There's lots of other types of variables too, lots of different types of numbers and words. There could be a single character, or a decimal number, or a whole number, or even a number that you want specially for money, or something with only 2 decimal points. There's other variables too that we haven't listed here, like a thing called a boolean, but these are the two that we're going to worry about. We can assign both words and numbers by creating a variable name. Let's call this my first name, and giving it a value. There are 2 different values that we can give to represent either a number or a word. For a word, we need to make sure that we've got quotation marks around the variable. And you'll notice it's gone green here. Another first name. We can use single or double quotation marks for this purpose. Both of these work exactly the same in Python. So I've now got 2 variables. These are both words. I know they're words because they're surrounded by these quotation marks, and it's shown to me because they're green in this environment. If I wanted some numbers, I would do something a little bit different. My age. Age is often represented by a number. Instead of using those quotation marks, I'm just going to directly write the number. By directly writing the number, it knows that my age is a number type of variable. If I did have quotation marks around this, it's going to treat this like it's a word, even though it is both a word and a number. With the quotation marks, I can't do things like math or other interesting calculations to it. I need to get rid of those. In this small example here, I've got 3 variables. My first name, another first name, and my age. I can do something simple like print these variables by simply writing inside the print brackets one of the variables. And then running at the top, you'll notice that Mike is printed because Mike is the value saved under this variable, my first name. I could print my first name and my age. If I run this now, Mike, 54. I could do my first name, my age, and another first name. And now I've got all 3 variables printed out. I'm not limited to using them only once as well. I can use these variables as many times for as many purposes as I want. I can even change them. Maybe my age starts out as 54, then later on I want my age to be 9. It's now 9. It starts out with this value, Later on, I say my age is a different value, and then when I try and output it, it outputs that updated value. All of this stuff here has pretty much been covered by the modules. This is just a quick recap and an example of using this. I'm going to go on to the second playground, Python Playground 2, or the second little diamond on the side. And I'm going to do some work in here. Now, I'm just going to make it bigger. Alright. Now, we've probably already looked at how to get input from the user, but we're going to be storing that input as a variable here. Your name. Your name, like we saw before, is a variable. It's something that doesn't exist. It's something that we're making up. It's something that we're going to give a value. Its value is going to be, instead of writing a name, its value is going to come from some input. This input is going to be prompted by the message, what is your name? Question mark. I'm going to put a space here. That space is pretty important because when I run it, you'll notice it's asked what is your name. It's given that space, and now when I write, I'm not writing directly up hard next to it. If I didn't have that space, so stop it, edit the code, run it, you notice it's not got a space between what is your name question mark. Technically this is fine, but what people often do is when they see that, they add a space themselves and then write a value. If they add a space, then that space is included in their input. So it's easiest if we add the space for them, so then they don't feel prompted to add a space and they can just write a value. I keep getting this error. What this is saying is there's an error on file 1 because there was a keyboard interrupt. What that means is it was expecting you to press enter, but I stopped it so it didn't work. Let's run it again. Run it, pushed enter, and it stopped itself. Alright, so now we've got the name of this person stored as your name. We can print them a message to greet them. Hello. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a thing called an F string. F stands for formatted string. What that means is that I can write variables directly into the message. So hello, squiggly brackets, your name, comma. Nice to meet you, exclamation. If I run this now, and I've entered the name Josh here, hello Josh, comma, nice to meet you. It's put that variable straight into this formatted string. This program that we're going to make now is how we can have a secret message for our best friend. What we're going to do as we create this program, we're going to add some comments to explain what is happening. Comments are with the hash symbol, and then any message you want underneath after. You could write absolutely anything here. It will not affect the code. It is its own little note. And it still runs just fine. It's best to put a comment the line just before you do something. Comments aren't needed before every line, but they're good to explain what variables are going to be used for, or, as we get down to it later, how various choices are being made. In this case, we're storing the user input as your name. Now, at the moment, any name they enter, Ashley, previously it was Josh, it's always going to give this message. I want this message to only happen if they're not our best friend. Alright, So we're going to store another variable. This is going to be my best friend. This isn't going to be an input. This is going to just be a name that we know. My best friend. I'm going to put Duncan. What we're going to do is check if. Whenever you write this keyword if, you notice it's gone orange. It is now setting up to be doing a check on whatever you write next. So I'm going to check if your name is equal to my best friend. Couple. So I've done a couple things here. 3 things to note. I've written your name, which is our variable, and my best friend. I've gotten 2 equal signs though. I've used 1 equal sign up here a couple times. That's to assign a value. 2 equal signs is to check a value. Let's make a quick note of that. 2 equals means to check a value. Maybe we'll just write 1 equals means to assign. Alright. I also finish it off with a colon. That's how it knows that this line is done, and the next line will be what happens if this is true. It won't actually let me run this. If I tried to run it now, it's got an issue. Let's break this down. It says indentation error. It's happening on line number 9. There's no line numbers here, but counting them, this is line number 9. And it's also showing you what the line is saying. It says it expected an indent. What an indent is it's a small gap between the start and out a little bit. Easily made with the tab key. It's just a small jump. This indent means that whatever we write here is going to happen if this condition is true. This is in line with the if statement. That implies that it happens after. If I put that indent here and I run it, it will actually run. Now if I enter a name that is my best friend's name, it says, hello Duncan, nice to meet you. If I enter a name that is not, it doesn't actually do anything. What this is doing is it's doing this check. If the name that I entered, your name, is my best friend, Duncan, then it will do this. Otherwise, it does nothing. Because there's nothing down here for it to do. Now, I want this to be the message that normal people get. So I'm just going to put a line there. I want to print a special message for my best friend. Hey bestie. I set this up as a formatted string, although I'm not going to add any variables to it. It's generally a good practice just to put a little if here. That way, if you do ever want to put a variable in, you can do so in the end. You can do so easily later. Alright, so now it will say both if I enter my best friend's name. Hey bestie, hello Duncan, nice to meet you. Now it's not really nice to meet you to your best friend because you already know them, you've met them. I want this to happen if they're not my best friend. So we're going to look at another keyword. I've gone enter, and I'm going to push backspace a couple times so I'm back in line with this if statement, this if here. I'm going to write the keyword else, colon. What else means is that if this fails, do this. If your name is not my best friend, we're going to be doing this. What is your name? Jake. Hello Jake, nice to meet you. This is triggered because it's trying to do the check. Is your name equal to my best friend, which is the word Duncan? That's not the case, so it doesn't say, hey bestie. It instead says, hello, nice to meet you. If I run this now, with my best friend's name, it says our secret message. We can write some more conditions as well. What if the person that we're talking to is our mother? We've looked at an if and an else. We can look at a separate thing called an elif. This is actually a combination of an else and an if. So it's going to happen if this fails, so that's the else part. And if means it's going to check its own message. Now I'm trying to use a variable here that doesn't exist, my mom's name. Let's try and run it and see what happens. What is your name? I'll enter something that's not my best friend. And I get an error. Let's quickly read this and figure out what's happening. On line number 9, so this one, it tells you which one, I'm getting a name error. The name, my mom's name, is not defined. I'm trying to use a variable, my mom's name, but I never tell the program what the value is. I can fix this easily by making it. Now if I try and enter, I'll enter something that's not my mom's name. I'll enter Sam again. It doesn't have that error. My mom's name exists. I make it up here. I make it at the top of my program. So there's no problem. If I try and make my mom's name down here, I get that same problem. It's trying to check what is my mom's name, but I make it after I try and use it. It's best practice to make all of your variables up the top. This is called declaring your variables. By declaring them all up here, I know that when I try and use them later, they all exist. Now let's try and enter my mom's name to get that secret message. What is your name? Maria. Hello, Mom. Alright. One thing that could happen is what happens if you don't use a capital. This is my generic message. Hello, nice to meet you. This message here is not exactly what I want to do. This is my mom's name, so I want to give them my special message. What I'm going to do is I'm going to update both my variables to be lowercase variables. In fact, I'll make this one all capitals, just to show the difference. And I'm going to use a special method on your name. So your name is going to be your name dot lower. And for my mom, upper. Now, let's try to insert my mom's name. It's going to try and compare whatever I write with this variable, and this variable is written all in capitals. But I'm going to write it in a mixture of capitals and lowers. Because I've got this method dot upper, it's going to convert anything I write to all caps. Let's see that here. So I'm also going to say hello mom and then your name dot upper. What is your name? Hello mom, Maria, all capitals. Even though I didn't enter all capitals, by writing dot upper, it's converted it all to capitals. Let's try to do Duncan. So for Duncan, my best friend, what you can see is I'm needing to make it all lowercase because I spell it in all lowercase. But I'm starting with a capital letter, as you should probably start with most words. And it instead gives me my special best friend message. Because, just like with our other one, it's been converted all into lowercase. Give this a try and see if you can create some secret messages from multiple people. If you need more than 1, 2, 3, you can add multiple else if statements in here. Now I have one if, two else ifs, and a last else. Oh. What's happened here? Let's quickly run this again. Ah, I've just missed the brackets here. Let's try that once more. Hello, Dad. There you go. So it's now able to do one if, as many else ifs as you want, and one else. There will always be a restriction of one if, as many elifs as you want, and one else. So there's always only going to be one initial if, as many elifs as you want, and then a single else. You can then do a separate if statement later, which is fine. It's okay. Okay. So here's a separate if that's happening after my initial one. Oops. No, does not like this dot contains. This is a Java method, so I thought it might work the exact same. It doesn't. Now this is a separate if statement happening after the initial. So it does the initial one, which is to figure out which message to output from these. And then it does the second one. So if you are this person, Jake, you get this name, this message. Otherwise, you only get from the originals. Alright.